There is a quiet mistake happening in millions of kitchens every morning, and it may be influencing blood pressure more than salt, more than fat, and more than cholesterol ever did. Because for decades, eggs were blamed for something they were never truly responsible for. And if you're over 50, what you believe about this single food might be shaping your heart health in a way no one warned you about. Let me explain what most people never get told. I'm Dr. Richard, and what I'm about to share could completely change how you look at breakfast and your blood pressure. For years, eggs carried a kind of silent warning label in the background of nutrition advice. Be careful, cholesterol, heart risk, blood pressure. So many people over 50 still hesitate before eating them. Some avoid them completely. Others limit them strictly to safe days. But here's where the story takes a turn most people never hear. When researchers actually measured what eggs do to blood pressure in controlled clinical studies, the effect is not what was expected. Not slightly better, not slightly worse. In most cases, no meaningful change at all. So the real question becomes much more interesting. If eggs are not driving blood pressure up, why do so many people believe they are? And more importantly, what actually is? To understand this, we need to go inside the body for a moment. Because blood pressure is not controlled by food labels. It is controlled by biology. And after 50, that biology begins to shift in very specific ways. Your arteries are not the same as they were at 25. They slowly become less elastic. Think of a new rubber band versus an old one. The newer one stretches and relaxes easily. The older one resists, stiffens, and pushes back. That stiffness alone can raise blood pressure, even if everything else stays the same. Inside your blood vessels is a delicate lining called the endothelium. It produces a gas-like molecule called nitric oxide. You don't feel it, you don't see it, but it is one of the most important blood pressure regulators in your entire body. Nitric oxide tells your blood vessels one thing: relax. When it's working well, your blood flows smoothly. But when it declines, which it naturally does with age, inflammation, and metabolic stress, your vessels stay tighter than they should, and pressure rises. Now here's the key point. Eggs do not significantly damage this system in healthy individuals. In fact, in many studies, they appear biologically neutral in this pathway. So if eggs are not the driver, what is? After 50, there are 4 major forces that influence blood pressure far more powerfully than dietary cholesterol ever will. And once you understand these, everything about heart health becomes clearer. First is chronic low-grade inflammation. This is not the inflammation you feel when you cut your skin. This is silent inflammation inside tissues. It slowly irritates the blood vessel lining. Over time, it reduces nitric oxide and makes arteries less responsive. Second is insulin resistance. When insulin stays elevated for too long, the kidneys begin to retain more sodium, and sodium pulls water into the bloodstream. More volume equals more pressure. Third is sodium sensitivity. As we age, the kidneys become less efficient at clearing excess salt. So the same meal that had no effect at 30 can noticeably raise blood pressure at 60. And fourth is vascular aging itself, the natural stiffening of arteries over time. Now notice something very important. None of these core mechanisms are directly triggered by eggs. They are triggered by long-term dietary pattern, inflammation load, and metabolic health. But eggs got caught in something much bigger than themselves. Nutritional history. Let's pause on that for a moment, because this is where the misconception was born. For decades, dietary cholesterol was treated as the main villain in heart disease, and eggs became the symbol of that fear because they contained cholesterol in the yolk. So the assumption was simple. Eat cholesterol, blood cholesterol rises. Arteries clog, blood pressure rises. It sounded logical at the time. But human biology is not that linear. The liver produces most of your cholesterol internally. So when dietary cholesterol increases, the body often compensates by reducing its own production, which means blood cholesterol stays relatively stable in most people. And that is exactly what modern research has repeatedly shown. Large population studies and meta-analyses do not show a consistent increase in blood pressure from egg consumption. So the original fear was not completely wrong in spirit, but incomplete in biology. Now let's go deeper, because this is where things become clinically important after 50. Eggs are not just neutral protein, they are biologically active foods. They contain high-quality amino acids that help preserve muscle mass. And muscle is not just about strength. It plays a hidden role in blood pressure regulation because it improves insulin sensitivity and glucose control. They also contain choline, essential for liver function and brain signaling. And they contain antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin. These help reduce oxidative stress inside tissues, including blood vessels. Why does that matter? Because oxidative stress damages nitric oxide. And when nitric oxide is damaged, arteries lose flexibility. So in subtle ways, eggs may actually support the very systems that regulate blood pressure. But here is where nuance becomes critical, because food never works alone. The real issue is not eggs, it is what eggs are commonly paired with. Think about a typical high-risk breakfast pattern. Eggs cooked in butter or processed oils, bacon or sausage on the side, added salt without thinking, white bread or refined carbs, sugary coffee or tea drinks. Now the conversation changes completely. Because you are no longer talking about eggs, you are talking about a metabolic stress load, sodium overload, insulin spikes, inflammatory fats, and that combination absolutely can influence blood pressure. If you found this helpful, I'd like you to comment below. Tell me, have you ever been avoiding eggs because of concerns about blood pressure or cholesterol? And did anything in today's video surprise you? Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who still believes eggs are automatically bad for heart health. Because after 50, it's rarely the obvious foods that matter most. It's the misunderstood ones. I'm Dr. Richard, and I'll see you in the next video.